What's causing all this? Woo!
Put Scooter on the phone, you bird brain.
What do you do, backflips? You jump up there in a silly suit? What do you do?
You go BAM! I want you to play that.
We're ready? Oh, we're here. It is 7:30 right on the money. I wasn't used to, we're not used to starting right at 7:30. This might throw a lot of people off here. We're right at 7:30 right on the button. This
People
is something.
set their clocks by Freddie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they set their clocks by me. I'm a Sagittarius, and we'll get into this in a minute. Anyways, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Fast Freddie Rocks Youngstown from the state-of-the-art Youngstown studios right here in beautiful downtown Youngstown. I got to tell you, downtown Youngstown is one of the most photogenic cities around there. If you're an amateur photographer and you like to take pictures, you could come to downtown Youngstown every day and find something different to photograph, or just photograph things from different angles or whatever. I was riding down here today. I was like, man, this is a damn good looking downtown. Really. Yeah. It looks great. And I know we're going to be doing a lot of stuff coming up this summer. Right, Party on the Plaza's coming back, or First Friday, whatever they call it. They're already lining up some good shows at the amphitheater. I know we have Australian Pink Floyd is coming up. And of course, the one that everybody's ready for, the Left End reunion returns. And we will be celebrating the glory days of Idora Park, the Spring Fling. And we're also going to have a little bit of music from Michael Stanley. And I know Thomas John is doing a big documentary about the whole thing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So downtown Youngstown will be rocking again this summer, except the what is that? The Youngstown, the big concert they do. I think it's going to be a country guy this time. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm sure it'll go good. But that last one with Kid Rock, I thought was really, really good. Yeah. Some people not a Kid Rock fan. Some people are. But the way that show, to me anyways, was set up, it looked like when you stepped out of it, it was hard to believe you were in downtown Youngstown. Right. It was like you were transformed into this area, and then you walked out and you go, "Oh yeah, hey, we're downtown Youngstown." But I thought those guys did a really great job, and the Covelli Center had a good year and continued success. And what's crazy about that? There were a lot of people that were against that. And I remember Harry Michelle was like one of the leading opponents of the Covelli Center. We don't need this. This is a waste of taxpayers' money. We're not in the business of building and I'll tell you what, that thing is really the cornerstone of downtown Youngstown and the revitalization of downtown Youngstown, without a doubt, And people come here. It's so cool to see people coming to shows in Youngstown from Cleveland, from Akron, from Pittsburgh, and they come down here and they have a great time, and it's just awesome. And it's so great to see that, And you can thank Jim Traffickin for that one.
Traffickin worked hard to get it down here.
Traffickin was the guy that put that together. So, Jimbo had his good points and his bad points, but the Covelli Center, definitely one of his good points. 7-Eleven Connector, good point. These courthouses downtown, good points. The revitalization of the air station at Vienna. So, Jimbo did a few good things there. Yeah.
His legacy lives.
Oh yeah, in both ways, several different ways. Anyways, let's get down to business. Coming up this Saturday, it's National Record Store Day. National Record Store Day on 420. How about that?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to our buddy Zach, and Zach is from Fat Hippie Records. It's a newer record store out in Brookfield, and we're going to welcome Zach to the show. Zach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Freddie?
I am doing excellent. So we got Record Store coming up on 420, which seems like an appropriate day to have it. It should probably be on 420 every year if it was up to me. It would be like the 4th of July, 420 National Record Store Day. So Fat Hippie is one of the newer record stores out there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into what you got going on and everything. So tell us about the store, and let's start from there.
Well, yeah, Fat Hippie Records has been in Brookfield for about 2 years now, and this is our first time participating in Record Store Day. It took a while to get approved, but I try to keep in like a really wide variety of music. I have a huge variety of hip hop, jazz, rock, psychedelic, metal, everything, punk. And, for Record Store Day, I really wanted to bring some live music to the community. We have, between myself and next door, we have Jimmy Nino's Pizzeria and Tap Room. And we're going to be doing live music all day on Saturday. Starting at 10 a.m. And when we open, we got DJ Justberg Finn. He's going to be spinning some funk 45s, start the day out a little light. Then at 2 p.m., we have the band going on, and that's the Fat Fest Band. That's what they're calling themselves. And that's Larry Infant, Danny Lopez, Rick Hartley, and Mark Jameson. And then if you stick around after we close up around 6, Jimmy Nino's has Penguin City Tap Takeover. And they also have a live band going on right then, and they'll be playing till 10 p.m. So you can literally come and listen to live music from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m.
Dang.
Check out the deals, grab some grub at Jimmy Nino's. Should be a good time for everybody in Brookfield and everybody in the Youngstown area who's like, Brookfield, like, why would I go out there? Because there's actually some fun stuff going on around here now.
Right. And I'll tell you what, that was some smart marketing there, putting that record store next to a place that sells beer.
Yeah, not a bad idea, right? And on 420, so you can enjoy however you want to imbibe.
That's what I'm saying. And of course, if they're having the Penguin City Tap takeover, now Joe and myself both are familiar with Penguin City, and I'll tell you what, there's some good people, and they've got some good taste in beer too.
Yeah, they do.
And you know what? That also keeps in line with the theme of having Record Store Day and supporting local businesses and stuff. So I see how it all ties in.
Exactly. And not only Record Store Day, there's a ton of exclusive releases from the huge names to small names. I mean, there was 8 pages of releases this year, so there's a ton of variety coming out. But I'm also doing 20% off all of my used vinyl. So like you want to pick up some classic rock stuff to build your collection. You want to grab some jazz and funk. All that stuff is going to be 20% off. So it's a good opportunity to come out and build your record collection too.
Now, what are some of the things that are coming out for Record Store Day? It's kind of crazy that you mentioned you have like 8 pages. I remember back in the day when Record Store Day was like first getting started, you might have like 5, 6, 10 releases. Now it seems like now that vinyl is coming back, everybody's getting on this vinyl bandwagon. What are some of the things that people might be interested in? Some of the bigger names that people might be looking for?
There are a ton of huge names. A lot of the younger people have been calling in looking for Noah Kahan and Olivia Rodrigo. I've gotten a million calls about that one. But I'm at Fat Baby Records, I'm into some of the old psychedelic type stuff, and I like 70s rock and stuff too. And there's some interesting stuff from that era coming out. The demo recordings from Yes and Alan Parsons Project, both of their first albums, I believe. It's the demo recordings from that. So it's basically like a whole new album from their early era, both bands, which, is never been released before. And they've got the Ramones early demos coming out. So a lot of those are interesting to me.
Yeah, that's cool. And now, like you say, somebody's, the younger people are looking for different artists and newer contemporary artists. And that's something I think new that you're seeing for Record Store Day, because, back in the day, it would be Bruce Springsteen. It would be, all the classic rock bands that were released in vinyl. But now you're saying that a lot of other artists from different genres are also jumping in on the Record Store Day and the vinyl craze.
Absolutely. Tons of hip hop, tons of pop. Yeah, it's great. The younger crowd has really been getting into vinyl, and especially this year for Record Store Day, I think they really catered to getting them a lot of like rarer 2000s, like punk and stuff. That's a lot of kids are into that stuff. And like I said, obviously the Olivia Rodrigos, the Taylor Swifts and all that, all of those roll out, regularly. So the Record Store Day, it's cool to see them get the engagement from the younger audience.
Oh, definitely. And if you want to keep it going, that's the way you got to do it. You got to get the younger people into it. You just can't live on the classic rock artist, for forever, then that's really cool. So what made you get into the record store business?
Well, when I was a kid, I was into records. When records weren't popular at all, I would have aunts and friends of the family be like, "Oh, you're into records? Here, you can have all these Led Zeppelin records. I got the CDs." And, I was like, "Oh, okay." But the way I got into them when I was a kid, the way I actually was introduced, because my grandpa, when he retired, he would sell records at flea markets. That's like what he did for a living when he retired. So I would always, pick up the Led Zeppelin 3s and I'd spin the wheel and check out, like, that was really cool. Or the Rolling Stones, Some Girls with the insert where you can change the picture, or physical graffiti. I was always engaged by those. And it's really cool that the younger audience gets into that too, with like how Taylor Swift and all these younger hip hop artists too, they'll release like deluxe editions of their vinyl and they have pop outs and stuff. And so kids get turned on to some of that older stuff too.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was just talking about that the other day on my on my radio program about the album covers back in the day. And you mentioned some good ones, physical graffiti with the windows, and Some Girls with all the, the cutouts in the album, and, Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers. They actually had a working zipper in an album. And one band that I think doesn't get enough respect. First of all, they're not even mentioned in the running for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think they should be. And that's Grand Funk Railroad. Now, Grand Funk Railroad back in the day, they had like at least 3 really cool album covers. They had one album, it was called E Pluribus Funk, and it was a large silver coin.
Yeah.
And then they had We're an American Band, and you had that, and it was
wax, right?
And it was on gold vinyl, and it came with all kinds of stickers and posters. And then they had another one for Shining On, and the album was a 3D album, and you got a pair of 3D glasses with the album to go along with it. And I think that was so cool back then.
That in stock right now, actually, Freddie.
Oh, you do? Uh-oh, look out, man. I might have to come running out there for Record Store Day. But yeah, I mean, that was the thing back in the day with vinyl, when all this stuff was coming out, that I think people lost. There was this coolness factor to even just having the album or the album cover, the artwork that it took to, these artists would spend X amount of money to come out with a cool album cover, to get some kind of cool work. Or sometimes it could be an easy picture like the Beatles' Abbey Road. Okay, we got to take a picture of the Beatles walking across the street, it's iconic. And other ones, they would spend all this money and research and get all these crazy things. Pink Floyd, that was another one. When Dark Side of the Moon came out, it came with 2 posters, and I think there might have been a sticker in there as well. And it was just, when you would buy music, it was an experience. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to push a download on my phone and I got a song. You had something that you first of all had to take care of. You didn't want to get fingerprints. You didn't want to scratch it. So to begin with, the ritual of listening to music and just putting it on the turntable was like the start of something. Then you started playing it. Then you're sitting there and you're listening to the record and you're reading like liner notes on the inside sleeve. And that was another thing. They'd put some artwork on the inside sleeve, and then they'd have the lyrics. And then you'd see, oh man, Jackson Browne is playing on that. I didn't know that, or whatever. And it was much more interactive, I think. And that was one of the things that I just don't think that you see today by just downloading music online.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, younger audiences are getting into that whole, younger kids love to come in here and just dig through my discount bins, and they'll do exactly that. They'll pull out an album cover like Todd Rundgren's Wizard of True Star, or, an early Pink Floyd, or like Animals with the pig flying in between the smokestacks, and they want to actually open it up and see all the inside art, and that ability to touch the music and really have more of a visceral experience with the music. I feel like that's really coming back, especially with people like Neil Young. They'll take their stuff off streaming, and then everyone's, complaining, well, where can I listen to Neil? Well, if you got the vinyl, you're never without your Neil.
Yeah, that's a cool way to do it. And Pink Floyd, Animals, that's a prime example of people going out of their way and spending a lot of money and being creative just to get a picture on the album cover. They had to get an inflatable pig made, a giant inflatable pig, and then they had to take it out to this power plant and take a picture of it, and then it got loose and they almost had to shoot it down because it was interfering with air traffic. And I think it ended up, something happened. It landed in a farmer's pasture or something. I can't remember the exact story of that right off the top of my head, but that was the whole thing. You don't get that whole story and the whole visual and the whole creative concept just by hitting a download. Okay, well, I got it on my phone, but yeah, I think that was one of the cool things really about vinyl. And I'm so glad to see that it's coming back. So how about you? Like, what were some of the first records? Well, you said your grandfather was working, selling used records at a flea market. So, and you mentioned like Zeppelin and that. So who were some of your favorite bands right off the bat when you started getting into music?
Oh, when I was a kid, I was a big Zeppelin fan. The Who, AC/DC, and the Who. Actually, the Who's Next was the first record I got on vinyl, and that was definitely listening to that album front to back, because I knew there were so many hits on that album, but like listening to it front to back,
oh yeah,
was one of the things that solidified me into being like a vinyl aficionado. I was just like, okay, they had an entire vision here for this album. And so my entire life, I want to hear the entire vision that an artist has for that album. That's one of the most important things to me when I'm listening to music. And it's, like I said, it's cool to me the kids are getting into that.
Yeah, that really is. And that's something you don't see in the music world as much as you used to back then too, because you would have these albums and they would have a theme to it, whether it was, Wish You Were Here or Who's Next, or, there was like a common thread maybe running through the songs or whatever,
Tommy from The Who, there's another, great album, the concept album.
Right. Now the Who, Who's Next, I remember getting that album from back in the day. They used to have the Columbia Record Club. And the Columbia Record Club, you could buy 10 albums for a penny, and you had to swear on your mother's grave that you would buy 10 more albums afterward at the regular price. Well, back then, that was our version of Napster. That was free downloads right there, because you're 10 years old, 12 years old, you're filling that thing out, you're sending it in. There's no way they're going to sue you. And then after a while, you wouldn't even take the other records out of the box. You just send them back. You never bought another single one, and then send you a letter to threaten you like, hey, but I can remember the ones that I got too. This is amazing. I can't remember like what I ate for dinner, what I'm supposed to do, what time I'm supposed to be at the Youngstown studio. But I can remember when I bought those records from the Columbia Music Club, I got Who's Next was one of them. Yes, Close to the Edge, Demons and Wizards from Uriah Heep. I got Humble Pie Live at the Fillmore, double live, and Who's Next. Those are a couple that I can remember right off the top of my head, and I think I still might have them laying around. Unfortunately for me, being in the DJ business all these years, my vinyl got beat to shit. Mine was not, it was not neatly stacked mine were in milk crates heading out the bars and getting dropped and drinks spilled on them. And, so yeah, no. Yeah. I remember I took mine in to like, hey, let's see what these used record guy is going to give me on this. I must have a fortune. Look at this Pink Floyd stuff. They looked at my album collection and they were like, you just might want to put that in a dumpster or, take it to the flea market or, now being in the record business and you deal with used records, I'm sure that you come across that a lot where people think they got $1 million in records and you look at it and you go, dude, you don't have anything here.
Oh, absolutely. I get a lot of people in, hey, I know what records are worth. So these beat up Engelbert Humperdinks with mold and mildew on them, I know they're worth something, right? how about these Dean Martins? They don't have covers, but you want them, right?
Yeah. Okay.
One thing though, I deal in a lot of used vinyl, but one thing I try to do is I keep in a lot of newer artists, like especially hip hop. I have a huge selection of hip hop. I feel like there's a lot of hip hop heads in the Youngstown area that are actually looking for a place to get that kind of stuff. So I actually, I used to have a radio show when I went to Kent State, and I would promote a lot of underground hip hop. So a lot of that is also what I have in stock, which you can't really find anywhere else. I mean, especially in our area, but let alone almost any independent record store in the country.
Yeah, that's cool to hear that this is where record stores are going to, and how vinyl's making a comeback, because like I mentioned earlier, when you usually think of record store day, it was always a classic rock artist. It was all pretty much classic rock based, and but now, like you say,
most
it's
people's opinion. Oh, sorry, but
yeah.
Most people's, their opinion of vinyl, they think classic rock, they think Skinner, they think Pink Floyd, but all of the artists are putting their stuff out on vinyl now because it's what the consumers want. The consumers want to get that connection to the artist. So they're everything from underground hip hop, small independent artists that are only selling a few hundred vinyl or even pressing it, from the Taylor Swifts who have 6 million variations of the vinyl that are each getting put out with hundreds of thousands of copies per unit. So it's cool to see that it's really the mode of music right now. I mean, it outsold CDs and tapes and everything. So.
And that's what's really cool about supporting our local record stores, because now, I mean, you go to these big chain stores. I don't even think Best Buy sells CDs anymore. I don't even think you could buy a CD in half of the places anymore if CDs are still your thing, And so it's really good to see.
You're right about that.
And I think, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think a lot of us small record stores in the Youngstown area, I think we each have our own niche, and I think that we all know how to kind of direct customers to what they're looking for. So I've noticed between me and a lot of the other independent record store owners, there's a lot of synergy there where somebody comes in and they're looking for some genre that someone doesn't have. They lead them my way, or I lead them over to Youngstown. I lead them here, so that's really cool to see as well.
Yeah, that's cool that you guys have that kind of community, because you're in it together. And I think that is an important thing too about an independent record store, is you want to have your own feel. You want to have your own vibe. You want to make it something unique. You don't want it to be the same. And when you find your niche as to what, the people that, congregate at your place or whatever, and then you get those people, I'm sure that you have a lot of people that just come in, hang out, want to hear what you're playing in on the speakers, and hey, what's coming up, what's coming out, and then you start to get to know those people, and you're like, dude, wait until you hear this band, or what, here's something that you definitely got to have in your collection. And it was even like that too back in the day with National Record Mart and stuff, where you had people that were into music and they knew what the people's tastes were. They would turn them on to new stuff, or they would have stuff playing that people would go oh, what's that? And I really miss those days, but you guys are bringing that back, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're back, man. You got to stop into a lot of the local record stores and check out the vibes in them, man, because those days are definitely back. I know I have a lot of customers that come in and they just want to, like you said, pop in, see what's playing, see if I have any recommendations for them. And yeah, that's fun, man. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. Well, listen, Zach. We're all music lovers at the end of the day. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you said you went to Kent State. That's where I got my start too, on the radio in Kent State. So. Oh, that's great. And I loved it there. Everything I learned at Kent State has helped me to where I am today. Every single thing, And absolutely. I really like going there. We had a lot of famous people go there too. Arsenio Hall, Mark Mothersbaugh. Yeah, Mark Mothersbaugh, the guys from Devo, of course, Joe Walsh, Drew Carey went there. Those are Michael Keaton went there briefly. Actually. Yeah, Michael Keaton went there. There's a lot of famous people, and then you have me, of course, the most famous of them all. There's a plaque on the wall. Yeah. Yeah. Do not enter. I think I still have a restraining order that I'm not allowed on campus, but you know what? I still don't have any ill feelings or any ill will towards them, because it was a really good time for me.
you know, and I did learn a lot. I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't go to Kent State, I think. So anyways, so listen, Zach, why don't you run down everything you guys got going on at Fat Hippie Records for Record Store Day coming up on Saturday. Tell them about your big celebration, where they can find you. Give us the whole scoop.
Well, you can find me in Brookfield in front of Mr. D's Food Fair, right next to Jimmy Nino's Pizzeria and Tap Room. And we've got live music going on from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. between myself and the Jimmy Nino's Tap Room. So it's at 10 a.m. That's when I open. That's when a lot of the exclusive releases are going to be snatched up, first come, first serve. We'll have a DJ right then and there playing some Funk 45, some light stuff to start the day out. Then at 2 p.m., we got a jam band going on. And then we are open till 6. And at 6, Jimmy Nino's next door has a tap takeover going on and a live band starting at 6, playing till 10. So you can come out to Brookfield and just hear live music for free all day.
Well, that sounds like a good time, Zach, and hopefully I'll be able to stop out at least and pop in and grab a Penguin beer and see what you guys got going on out there at Fat Hippie Records.
Absolutely. Let's try to refresh your record collection with some new copies, man.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right, Zach, have a good record store day. 420, it should be an excellent day.
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's our buddy Zach from Fat Hippie Records, one of the newer independent record stores located in Brookfield, and they are getting ready for National Record Store Day coming up on 420 this Saturday. I see my buddy Greek says, yes, Fred, Kent was a lot of fun. I think he was one of the people that's helped me have a restraining order at Kent State to this day. And Dave is checking in. And so is Mike Smith. Good to hear from everybody. Yeah, Record Store Day, man. That is that is a big thing, you know. And we got 3 good ones here too. Of course, Record Connection has a lot of stuff going on, and maybe we'll hear from Jeff Burke. And of course, one of the original record store guys was our buddy Sonny at Underdog Records, and that was the one that we used to go to on the South Side years and years and years ago. You know, this goes back to the 70s, and of course, that was a head shop. Power hitters and rolling papers that had a little wire in it that made its own roach clip, and just all that kind of stuff. And you know what I meant to ask him? When people bring in records, does he ever find anything stashed inside the record sleeves?
Yeah.
Do you find any money in there? Maybe a little bit of drugs, or, you know, do people have stuff stashed away, or dirty picture? You know, whatever, you know, no telling what people might stash away in these record albums,
Right.
you know.
When I was down in Tennessee, there was a guy that took a Sinatra record that he had since he was a kid in the cellophane, and he broke the seal and played that record while we were there. I felt so guilty. That thing survived decades without being opened.
Yeah.
And he cracked it open.
But that is a thing too. I think when if you have used records, you do not have a gold mine. Let me tell you, there are certain things that are popular. You know, there are certain things that they got to be in good condition. Like I say, when I took mine to Jeff Burke, you know, they pointed me to the dumpster.
Yep.
Said, hey, take him to the Goodwill, or most of these I just throw in a dumpster. I was like,
2 of my worst investments: baseball cards in the 90s and records.
you know, I still buy baseball cards. When I see them in the
Really?
store, I still buy them. I just still like them, you know, because me and my kids, we used to really, you know, be big.
They were the best. Those were the 2 best things growing up.
Yeah,
Baseball
yeah,
cards and music.
yeah. And I can remember one of the first records I ever bought, a 45. I'll start with 45. Was the Royal Guardsman, Snoopy and the Red Baron. You know, so that had to be like 1964, probably, I'm thinking. And then I definitely remember buying Human Beings, Nobody But Me. That was, you know, that took off. And then from there, I was just on a nonstop tear, you know, and I just got into buying records and buying records and buying records. First album I bought, I'm pretty sure, was Creedence Clearwater Revival, Cosmos Factory. I remember buying that. And I know I had some Grand Funk albums and Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen. I had that one. And then from there, I just went on. And you know where I always found, though, albums cheap was at garage sales.
Yep.
And I think my thinking behind that was, I think parents were selling their kids Zeppelin and Black Sabbath records when they were out, doing whatever they did.
100%.
And I think it drove the parents wild, and they just said, you know what? These are going.
Yeah.
These are going. Come in there. Hey,
They go off to summer camp and their Kiss albums out the door.
Yeah. I'll tell you, another album that I remember acquiring was Sgt. Pepper's from the Beatles. And I had to probably be in about maybe 7th grade, maybe, when that came out. And I remember my friend Larry Cooper at the time, he traded me that album for, I had one of those ink pens that had like 30 different color inks in it,
Yes.
and they had like copper colored ink and blue and pink and everything. And you just turn the thing and it had all these things. And he loved that. And he says, I'll trade you this Beatles album for that ink pen. And I said, you're on. And I'm sure he stole it off of his sister, because I think it had something on there. I forget what his sister's name was, but I think it had stuff on there like Cindy Loves Johnny and a heart and stuff like
That was
that.
part of the album design.
It could have been. It could have been. And I remember getting that and playing that thing. And, I thought that was the best trade I ever made. Although I did like the multicolored pen, because that was pretty badass back in
At
the
the
day.
time, that was premium right there.
An ink pen that has 30 different colors in it. It's as big as a tube of toothpaste. I don't know how you could write with it. But yeah, so I had that, and I thought, man, this is where it's at. And then from there, that's, I always just bought albums and always been into music. I can't play, I can't sing. So that's why I got into the DJ business. And I didn't really feel like working,
What you do is more than working, my friend. Busiest dude I know.
But but it's not like, I'm not digging a ditch or anything like that. Yeah. And you're allowed to drink when you work too. That's another thing.
Yep.
People come over, hey, you got something to drink here? No, sorry, I only drink when I'm on the job. I only drink at work. I don't drink at home. I just drink at work. Hey, speaking of which, we can have a little nip here or what, man?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. What started us off here is I was here on time, and we got the show started on time because I knew Zach was going to be jumping in, and that was pretty cool. You know what? It's good to see some of these younger guys too. Holy what do you? Somebody's thirsty. Okay, what are we enjoying here today?
Angel's Envy.
Angel's Envy. What's this all about? Tell me, man.
This is a bourbon, and it's I believe it's part of the Buffalo Trace
I think you got a little more than me.
Wait, you just basically said, "What, are you thirsty?" So I figured you weren't.
Okay.
You want more of a nip?
A little nip, just a little nip,
a little bit more,
just a little nip. All right, so this is Angel's Envy.
Yes.
All right, there we go. That's good. And as always, we start the show off with a toast to our military and all our veterans and everybody serving in the military, because our glasses that we use are from the White House Navy Mess, and they were given to us by James Minoski, who is like one of the top chefs in the Navy. And we salute our troops and all our Americans and everything else when we start off the show here. My one guy we work with, Dave Quinn, our commercial guy, he is now the biggest bourbon nut.
Really?
He is on a bourbon rampage now. Every day we come in, and he'll have discovered something new about bourbon, and hey, you're not going to believe this, or oh, I come across this bottle, and I just turned it on to so-and-so or whatever. And I went to do these commercials for him, and boy, I gave him that bottle. Oh, he was happy. And, so he is a bourbon nut. I get a big bourbon update almost every day. Still doesn't come. He's not close to Dr. Sue though. She's like that. That's in a different, there's a difference between being a bourbon fan when you're a veterinarian and being a bourbon fan when you work at a radio station.
Okay.
You're not, the price range. I think there's a lot of it that, you're not kind of at that level yet, There are some things that, and it's just the way it is. Dean says, cheers, Dean. But yeah, record store day. I'll tell you what was the greatest record store day ever. that I don't think will ever get topped at the Record Connection when the Foo Fighters did a free concert for 150 people in a storefront. I mean, how Dave Grohl is one of the coolest SOBs out there. I mean, there's no two ways about it. He is one cool dude. He is about as down to earth as they come. And for him to bring the Foo Fighters to Niles, Ohio, to do a free show, think about that, man. You know, and he come riding in on a Harley. There's pictures of him riding around Warren on his Harley, and you know, all the band went down to Dave Grohl Alley afterwards. But I mean, just to be in there, from as far as me to you, and it's the Foo Fighters doing a concert. You know, it was insane. And you know what? Everybody was taking pictures. Okay. And a lot of people are like, oh, put those cameras down, enjoy the moment and stuff. First of all, if you're this close, if you're 10 feet away from the Foo Fighters, you're totally engulfed in the scene. I'll tell you that right now. You're totally engulfed, and you want to capture that moment forever. That's why some people say, oh, put the phones down, sit there and enjoy it, watch what's going on. You know, there are so many things that I've been to back in the day that I wish I had pictures. On the other hand, there are some things that I'm glad that there are no pictures involved whatsoever. Ask Paul Mavrikis about Kent State Alone, you know?
Yes.
But also there are a lot of things, you know, a lot of great shows. Now you look back and, you know, maybe you went to, what if you were at Tom Petty's last show? Wouldn't you like to have a memory of that? Wouldn't you like to have a picture of that? Wouldn't you like to have a little video clip of that?
Now, isn't it annoying though when you're at a concert and people are live streaming the show? Like, no, I
don't do it that long, but I do live stream some cuts. I do that. But that's also because, you know what though? The reason I do that is for people at home that are fans, that they could see it. Maybe you couldn't go to the show. Maybe you're a fan. Maybe you couldn't afford a ticket. At least you get a little glimpse of it. You say, yeah, oh, okay, that looks cool, or that looks fun. Or maybe, you know, you were thinking, and maybe you're kicking yourself in the ass. Maybe you're thinking, you know, I wanted to go to that show. You know, it is what it is. You know.
See, I would be sitting behind you. I'm 5 foot nothing. You're taller than me. You got your phone out there.
No, I try to be respectful.
Guess what my vision was?
No.
I just got to look at it. I looked at the show through your phone.
Yeah, there you go. I'm helping you. You can't see it on stage, but thanks to me with my phone, you could watch the show. No, it's you know, I mean, there are certain shows that you probably don't want to do it. And I could see why. I know like Bob Dylan's a real stickler of not having people, but the aura that he's trying to present and everything. But you know what? When say you're at, you know, Gund Arena or what, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse or whatever, and you're at some of these huge shows, you're so far back, you don't have that intimate connection with the band. I mean, you're having fun and stuff, but it's not like, oh, I'm right there. Oh, look at, you know. You can see the guys, you know, you're watching on a big screen to begin with, you know, so some of that, it's just like, you know, but even like the Robbins Theater, I like taking pictures. I like sharing the pictures, you know, people that can't go to the show or people that were at the show that, you know, it's a fine line. It's a fine line, but I'm not against it. And everybody that says, oh, these people taking pictures, probably if we would have had cell phones and camera phones back in our day, we would have been taking them back then just as well. You know, even when they talk about, you know, kids playing video games and stuff like that. If we were growing up and that was big at our time, we would be doing it. If that was what all the kids were doing and you had to have a video game and you had to have a Nintendo, believe me, I don't care if it was 1965, 75, 85, 95, 2015, whatever the cool thing was for kids, you would have been doing it. You know, fortunately, we were in a time when we weren't wrapped up in that kind of stuff. We didn't sit around the house all day. But you know, you know, we people bitch about that stuff, but if the shoe was on the other foot, we would be doing, you know, we would be wanting the coolest Nintendo game or whatever they are, PlayStation or whatever, you know. So, 100%. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, you could sit there and bitch about things. I guess the big bitch, although, hey, how about the eclipse? That's what I want to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. Was that not bad to the bone? It was awesome. I think that was one of the coolest things that has happened in ages. And on Y103 we were playing, eclipse related songs like Bad Moon Rising, Children of the Sun, Cheap Sunglasses, Blinded by the Light,
Nice.
Black Hole Sun. And then we played Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety. So like right when totality hit, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. And then we went into Here Comes the Sun. And it was like the perfect soundtrack. And especially like the eclipse was going on and just Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon was just playing along. And, people were out at Mosquito Lake and place. They had it cranked and people were sending in pictures as it was happening. See, that's another thing, okay. Well, just look at the eclipse and enjoy it. Don't pull out your phone. It's like, and we just had such a great, it was what the whole thing about that was, that gave every single person a break from what was going on in the world. It just took you away from everything. It was actually like magic. It really was. You weren't thinking about anything. You weren't thinking about your bills. You weren't thinking about Trump. You weren't thinking about Sleepy Joe. You weren't thinking about anything but being in the moment with this eclipse. Exactly. And then being on a Monday in the middle of the week or in the middle of the work day, it just took everybody out of their zone. You know what I mean? Yep. It just transported everybody to another place. And it was like peaceful. It was cool. It was Mother Nature. It was Earth, and the whole thing. And, I think it was just like, and it was just like everybody was on the same page for the most part, There were some people, I'm not looking at this stupid eclipse. I thought, saying goodbye,
So where'd you view it from? What was your experience like?
Well, like I say, I was on the air,
okay,
and I was watching it outside every once in a while and stuff. I'd step outside, but just the vibe, man. I mean, it was just so cool. And like I say, everybody is, sending in their own pictures and, hey, here we are, and it was just like that whole, like everybody was like this community. It was almost like a hippie thing or something, and everybody was into it. And, my sister was heading back to New York on I-80. And she said in Pennsylvania, once it was starting to hit, people on I-80 just pulled off to the side of the road, 18-wheelers, everything. And people were just out of their cars and stuff and just standing there. And it was such a phenomenon. It was just so cool. And I'm glad that it went down the way that it did. So how about you? What's your scientific take and perspective on the whole eclipse?
No science. I did what you did, and I just took it in. I mean, those kind of things make you feel insignificant. It really does put you in check, knowing how insignificant you are. But so we just drove a bunch of back roads over to like Worcester, a little Amish community, pulled off to a little park and watched it go down. Totality, it was awesome.
Oh yeah. How about some of those pictures from Cleveland too? Like Terminal Tower all lit up. And, there's the moon over top of it or whatever. And I mean, it was just so freaking cool. It was just, and like I say, I think the fact that it just took everybody out of their groove and just took them to a different place. I think that's what was really amazing about that, because everybody was
luck out though that is so close.
I know. That's why we said, we're going to go balls out with this, and this is only going to happen once. So we might as well, we played like Darkness on the Edge of Town, and there was a whole lot of other ones we could have played too, and I don't think it would have mattered. You're kind of trying to stick with the format a little bit, but I mean, we could have played Harvest Moon from Neil Young and Moon Dance and King Crimson or King Harvest Dancing in the Moonlight. And, some of the more poppy stuff, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And, you could have probably just went completely balls out. Trenda checking in from down in Florida. TJ in Youngstown, what's up? And the kids had their day off of school. A lot. And how about the people that bitch about that? What? You know what? Here's one of the reasons why people were off of school. Because if your kid would accidentally look at the sun by somehow, they would be suing the school. You made us come there and he looked at the sun, and you could see that happening, or he's walking home from school. It's like, you take care of your kid. We're not going to be responsible for anything at all.
So what the day after How many optometrists got a visit? Was it a busy day in those?
I'm betting. Well, yeah, on Google, the most common search was my eyes hurt. That was the most common. That was the number one search on Google immediately after and the day after the eclipse. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I caught a little glimpse out of the corner, and it kind of gave me a.
You don't look at the sun regularly, and here we're all staring at it.
And it just caught me out of the corner of the eye, and I'm just kind of in my left eye, and all of a sudden, man, I was like winking and blinking out of that eye for a couple of days. I'm like, oh, okay, and I didn't even. I just kind of like, I was being sneaky. You know what? Because I didn't get glasses. I screwed up, At first, they had them at Country Fair for free. Free goggles. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, right, whatever. And then I saw them for 79 cents at Speedway. And I'm like, And then when the day hit, I'm like thinking, I better get some goggles. I couldn't find a pair anywhere. There wasn't a pair to be had anywhere. But fortunately, this little kid that was next door to the radio station, he had a pair and let me use it. And I got a good glimpse. I saw what I needed to see. But yeah, it was fantastic. I thought it was really something. I was glad we were a part of it, and I'm glad we had the totality and everything. I just thought that it was really cool. Another thing this week, OJ.
Oh no.
You know what? There is no love lost for that guy. The memes just started flowing. He wasn't dead 10 seconds. They posted OJ dead and memes were already like flowing out.
They were ready.
That's what I think. I think it was like I thought it was just like these people are just sitting there waiting, wait until this son of a bitch dies. Wait until you see what I got. An angel. Yeah. Anything with a white Bronco on it, I'm sending. We'll put a casket on a white Bronco. And, but, they, and then what was the one? If the casket does not quit, or if the casket does not fit, he's allowed to live or something. Or they had one with he's holding the glove at the pearly gates, and God is saying that shit don't fly here and stuff. But they just went on a roll on the juice, man. I mean, it was just like nonstop.
What's Leaf say? It's okay to look at it when it was total, just not before or right after.
Yeah, but my timing was a little off on that. Yeah, hey, you can also prevent getting pregnant if you pull out real quick at the right moment. Yeah.
Timing's off. Blind and blind.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. But this was something here I found. It's been 30 years since OJ's notorious Bronco chase. Here's 10 things from 1994. 1994, how's 1994, 30 years ago? To me, it's 10 because we're 1990, 20. Okay, 1990, then you go to 20. Right. So it's like right after it. Yeah, it's like 10, maybe 10. Okay, 1990, and now you're in 20. 1920, 10 years. Okay. But they say that it's 30 years.
30 years.
I
think they're right.
Let's see. March 1994, People's Republic of China got their first ever connection to the internet. And they were planning TikTok ever since.
Yep.
April 5th, Kurt Cobain of Nirvana took his life. On May 10th, 1994, there was another solar eclipse. So now they're already starting the correlation there.
Yeah.
This is when he was acquitted, and then the next eclipse comes by and the guy drops dead. Some kind of conspiracy there. May 26, 1994, Maria Presley and Lisa Marie and Michael Jackson got married. Lion King hit the theaters 3 days before the murder and 2 days before the Bronco chase. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Strange coincidence.
Number one song in the country was The Sign by Ace of Base, Bump and Grind by R. Kelly, and I Swear by All for One. Top TV shows: Home Improvement, Seinfeld, Roseanne, Grace Under Fire, and Coach. Friends wasn't even out yet.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. You probably know this. The internet got real in 1994 when both Yahoo and Amazon.com and Match.com was one of the first ones out there.
Seriously?
Now here, you probably know this.
Okay.
Okay. You got to know this.
All right.
Okay. What was the first registered domain name?
Sex.com.
I figured you would know that one. That was way too easy. That was in your wheelhouse. You know what? Who come up with that idea? You know what? Think about everything we've ever invented that they had to tie sex into it. You know,
Absolutely.
They invent the camera. What's the first thing they take a picture of? They invent a movie camera. What are we going to do? We got the internet. What's the first thing we're going to put on there? But think about that. The first domain name was sex.com.
Have you ever visited sex.com? Because I couldn't even tell you what it is.
No,
I've never been there.
All right, let me look it up here.
Shit.
So
This is dangerous.
yeah, so now this will be on my phone and I'll just
Right.
get all kind of crazy things
Right.
coming up. All right, let's see. The first registered domain name ever,
.com. I hope it's good. I mean, if you're
com.
going to get the first one, it's got to be respectful and classy, and it's probably not.
Yeah, because probably Larry Flint was the first guy to register it, you know. First thing I'm going to see on here is beaver hunt.
I can't.
Okay, I'll tell you what, it's pretty raw.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Oh, holy, okay.
Not-
It is. They have not let up. They are true to what it is. You can look that one up yourself and have at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. It definitely lived up to what you would think. Full smut. Okay.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
That was, we were doing that for research sake. It was the first ever. We
Exactly.
had to see what it was like.
Right. Yeah. You never know what it could have been. You know.
Right. It could have been anything.
Right. Could have been a couple holding hands and pitch and woo, but no, not quite. All right, you get the drift before you even accept the cookies on that one.
Well, but you're talking, I'm going to go use the Wayback Machine and see what sex.com looked like the first version.
Oh, you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that should be interesting. That should be
See
interesting.
what version 1 looked like.
Oh man. And you know what else was, you know what the big kids sensation was back in the day, 1994? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. My son loved the Power Rangers. And I remember one time we went to see them, maybe at Cleveland State or something. They had like a road show and it was like a play. And the bad guys in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were the Putty Patrol. And they had the Putty Patrol coming out and grabbing kids and carrying them away, you know, and every kid wanted to get carried away and kidnapped by the Putty Patrol. Pick me.
All right, let's see how far
So
we
this is
go
a
back.
Wayback Machine. Okay.
1996.
Okay.
Let's see what dates are available.
Okay. So I never knew this existed. Now, what's this called? Waybackmachine.com.
The Wayback Machine. So here is a snapshot from December 19th, 1996.
Okay. This is sex.com.
There is not much here.
Well, you got to enter. That's like, you know.
What's it going to look like?
Okay. Proceed at your own risk. Okay, look at welcome to sex.com. This is a reality check. Are you sure you want to proceed to view explicit sexual oriented materials? Further, are you sure that you're over 18 years of age? Okay, then it says something.
Enter.
Okay, yeah, please. It said, okay.
All right, go ahead.
And it says here, exit now and contact your attorney in your jurisdiction for advice. Yeah, if you're okay, if you, oh man.
All right, let's see.
So this does any kind of website?
Any website, you can see what it looked like at any period of time.
Wow. Now that is insane. I never knew this thing existed.
Now they updated a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. It's still pretty much. Okay.
Not much.
No.
All right. Well, here was their reboot. Let's see what it.
They want you to go to the real one, the current one.
Yep.
Go to the current one. No, don't. I already saw it. Yeah. All we need to do is let something slip out by mistake here or something. Well, so to speak. You know?
I wasn't thinking. All right. We're done with sex stuff.
So Wayback Machine. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Machine.
So that's but that was 10 things that was going on 30 years ago when OJ was when the Bronco chase first went down. I remember watching that. That's one of those moments I can remember where I was. I was playing music at Bullwinkle's on South Avenue, and we didn't even start playing music because everybody was glued to the TV set, you know. Oh, come on, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And the slow Bronco, just, you know, all them cop cars around it and stuff.
Yeah, I remember it interrupted it was in the middle of basketball season, and they had the basketball that I was watching in the corner of the screen.
Yeah, it was like
OJ on
June 4th or 3rd, so it was like the finals.
Yeah,
as a
right.
matter of fact, I remember that. Yeah.
So they have my basketball in the corner, and the whole Bronco.
Instead of you would think they would have had it the other way around. Everybody wants to watch basketball. Nobody cared about basketball. They wanted to see the juice.
Yep.
You know. And everybody was chanting and yelling and hollering and hooting and hollering and yelling stuff. So it was really pretty cool. Let's see. Penguins winning 2-1 against Nashville in the second period. They're coming on strong here. They're teetering on making the playoffs. Indians beat the Yankees yesterday.
Boom.
They should have won at least one of those in that doubleheader, though. But yesterday they showed they could hang.
Yeah.
They come back in 10 innings. That was an exciting game, man. And they beat Boston today too. They played 11 o'clock in the morning. They had the Boston Marathon, so they had to move the baseball game up. So, but that, the Indians are looking good. Guardians, Cleveland, whatever you want to call them.
Even without Shane Bieber.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Did you see they restructured Nick Chubb's contract?
Yes. Well, you know what? Judging by his injury, you know what? I really thought that the way they structured his contract that they were doing the guy a favor. You know, but I think it would have been a PR disaster if they didn't take care of this guy.
Yeah.
You know, if they would have just said, you know, probably if he was like a second teamer or stuff, gone. But I read a pretty good article about, especially now, you know, in the NFL, if you're an older running back, they don't want to pay you anything. Right. You know, you better make your money first 2-3 years or so that you're in there. You start getting to be 28 years old. It's like adios. You start getting hurt. Your body gets beat up. But I think they did Chubb pretty good, you know.
Do you think he will see the field again?
I don't know. Here's the thing. You can't pay all that money to Watson and then slam the door on Chubb.
Yeah.
But how about these guys wanting a new stadium now? I mean, come on. In Brook Park, no less.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think of all the businesses in downtown that would hurt. I mean, there are some businesses that probably depend on the Browns for a lot of their money, even though it's like 10 weeks. I bet those 10 weeks really add up. And, you know, plus who wants to go out by the airport? You know, you want to be downtown, you know, you want to, although the tailgates would probably be pretty insane. But
are they really going to do a dome? I read it.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
Dome.
But I don't think people want to, they're going to have a hard time convincing taxpayers to pay for that. Yeah. I think that's the thing. I think now, you know, they look at, hey, you could pay Deshaun Watson $240 million, then you want us to shell out for your stadium. I think there is a certain element out there that is like anti-sports and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens, you know. But if they decide to move because they don't get it, that should be, listen, we put up with your bullshit all this time, all the heartbreak, the factory of sadness, the house of sorrow, and then all of a sudden you're gonna
Wisconsin offers them a stadium when they're gone.
Yeah. That would be really terrible. But terrible. You know,
don't even say that. Don't even speak that into the ether.
No. Here's one. What else are we missing in sports? I think that's it. Penguins trying to get into the playoffs. Sidney Crosby, man, I can't say enough good stuff about that guy, even though I'm a Cleveland guy. Hockey, I've always loved the Penguins. And 3 Stanley Cups, 16 straight playoff years. And the guy's never been in trouble. You never hear anything bad about Sid. You don't hear teammates bad mouthing him. You don't see anything wrong with this guy. I mean, he, to me, is the true hero of Pittsburgh sports. I mean,
legend.
Three championships and 16 straight playoff appearances. That's insane. That's insane, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of records out there. It's either him and Wayne Gretzky, and I mean, I sometimes I think Sid gets overshadowed by this just because of the fact the Steelers are the Steelers, you know. Right. It's the Steelers, you know. But you know, the Sid, man, when he's gone, he's definitely going to be missed, man. He's just something else. 17-year-old student in New York was arrested for a stunt he pulled last month, where he sent a fax posing as the principal, stating that he was resigning. How did he get busted? He put his cell phone number on the cover sheet of the fax.
Oh, dummy.
That's a good one. He didn't really know how the fax machine worked. He did create a fake school email account and use them to send the fax. He also used the account to try to get another student in trouble and get private information about yet another student. Well, you know what? See, this was probably you as a younger guy. You know, I mean, he was, you know, you probably made some mistakes along the way that you had to learn when you were learning about computers and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, you know, at least the guy, you know, one mistake, damn it. You know, I mean, look at your buddy Elon Musk with the rockets, you know. Sometimes you got to blow up a $20-30 million rocket.
Did you see there was a successful one? They orbited.
No.
Yes.
How did I miss that?
Couple weeks ago, it was one of our off weeks, and they launched. They got to orbit, and they came back down. No rapid, unexpected destruction.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he did it.
You know what? We saw all the misfires, and I didn't even know he was doing another one. You know, but that's how the news cycle works. You know. Yep. One day, you know, that's all you see. Remember, we would sit here, we would watch the launches and everything. Yep. And now it's like, now he has a successful one. Nobody even heard about it. Yeah, I thought it was done. I thought it was over with.
No, there's another one next month. We'll have to watch the next one.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. So the, what is this? Angels Envy. It's not bad.
So I want to ask you about something. Like I read in my news feed just about every day that some kind of like teacher or substitute teacher is caught having sex with a student. A 49-year-old substitute teacher today was in the back seat with a young gentleman, 17-year-old student. Like, what did this ever happen when you were a kid? Did you ever hear about crap like that?
No, never, ever. I mean, there was a couple of hot teachers that you heard rumors about, but you know, nothing like that. Especially all my teachers were nuns
none of my
anyways.
Teachers,
they were busy beating me with a stick.
But either like they're getting OnlyFans accounts and they're getting kicked out of school, or they're having sex with kids. Like,
yeah. You know, I know, and it's not a funny thing, but they did a bit on Saturday Night Live, and it was John Davidson, and the judge was Keenan, and it was the guy, and they were saying, now, how did this whole thing go down? And I mean, it was just the kid just like bragging about the whole thing. It was probably like, you know, when you first go to Disney World is how I would explain it, you know, and everything, you know, and the judge is just sitting there like smiling, shaking his head. Yeah. But no, you know, I can see why that's wrong, and you really can't. Oh, here's one. You know what? I would think that this would pop up on my phone, because of not a Jeff Buzzer said, not a Woodrow Wilson. No. Usually when we talk about something and it pops up on your phone a couple seconds later, this one just happened to pop up on my notes.
I see how that works.
Yeah, this is kind of strange here. It's about Elon Musk. Elon Musk wants to build a fleet of robo taxis. They'll be like regular taxis. Oh, but they will spontaneously combust. Tesla rider, you know where I'm coming from with that one.
Yeah. Well, how would that be? Like if you bought a Tesla, you put it in robo-taxi mode. While you're at work, it could go around and give people taxi rides and give you the check when it gets back. How amazing would that be? It's your employee.
Yeah. Boy, watch how that pans out. What could possibly go wrong with that?
Yes. A news story about Amazon. They added 100,000 new robots, bringing them up to 750,000 robots that they employ to put their packages together and to do their shipping and pull stuff off the shelf. That is almost 1 million jobs that human beings used to do.
Yeah, that's scary. I find that really scary. I don't even like to talk about it because it worries me, you know. When people say, well, what you got to do is you got to go out and learn how to fix robots. Get off your ass and go fix robots. All right, so you probably have 3 robot fixers in the plant, 4 robot fixers to every 500, robots there is, you know? Yeah, no, it's scary. I don't know where it's going, and one way that would slow this down is a robot tax. You know what? You got a robot in there, they better be paying Social Security. Who's going to be, you're taking all these jobs out, you're taking all this money out of the economy. You got to start taxing robots like they're a worker. Okay. You got them in there. For every robot, you got to come up with however it's going to match for Social Security, however it's going to match for city tax, for state tax. And I think that would change some things around a little bit if you started taxing robots. And I'm surprised nobody's saying that. I think I'm on the cutting edge of this.
You're the first I've heard.
I would say start taxing robots, start charging them, they have to pay for Social Security to keep the system going. You're getting rid of these jobs. You're hurting everybody else. So, that would be my thing. Robot tax. That would be the first thing I would start. And I would give incentives for people to get rid of robots. That's what I would do.
So I saw a prototype for the first completely robotic McDonald's, where kiosk, fry flipper, burger flipper, deliver your food, never have a human being besides the customer in that place.
I know. Okay. But see, where's that going to lead to though? I mean, all of a sudden, if you don't have people that can afford to go there, you're going to get screwed in the long run. If people aren't working, if people don't have jobs, they're not going to be buying stuff from Amazon. But see, they don't give a shit because they're making their money. If we sell 10 packages, we're going to make a profit. No matter how many we sell, we're still going to make a profit. It might not be way out here, but we're still going to make money. So as long as we're making money, who cares about all that other stuff? But
the robot works 24 hours a day, doesn't take breaks, efficiency in the high 90%.
Yeah.
You buy them one time and never have to spend another
robot
dime
tax. Robot tax. You got to start talking about that.
Okay.
We're still talking about the same old stuff that,
Well, in the dystopian movies from the 90s, the people would start attacking the robots because they didn't like that they were taking their job.
Yeah.
And then they would program the robots to defend themselves. And that's when the world comes unglued.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yeah. And you could see it happening.
Oh, for sure.
You could see it happening. You could see it happening. I don't think that's that far fetched. That's why I don't even like to think about it because it disturbs me. That's something I like to block out of my mind.
And I brought it up and added trauma.
Yeah. At the end of the show, we just had this good show going. We were moving along at a good pace, a good clip. We were talking about music and blah, blah, blah.
Well, you got me worried about Columbia House tracking me down and putting something on my credit report because I don't think I'm due with them. Do you think if I bought 10 now, they would say, all right, you're good, satisfied?
Yeah. Okay, please, I will buy 10 albums from 1975. Okay. Dark Side of the Moon. Okay. Yeah, that was our Napster. That was free music file sharing way before Napster was even invented.
Yep.
All right, what do you think? You ready to wrap it up? Well, let me finish my drink here,
Where will you be publicly lately? Or you got bike nights coming up?
They'll be here before you know it. Yeah. I see Jeff Buzzard is on here. We're still doing our Tuesday night bowling league out at Camelot Lanes. That's going to be coming to an end at the end of the month. And then I think May 1st, my first bike night's going to be at the Lube in Sharon on a Wednesday night. And then from there, a lot of stuff. I'm practically booked for the whole summer already. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. Although, I said to somebody the other day, I said, it seems like the older I get, the busier I am. And a guy looked at me and said, no, you're just slowing down. You're doing the same amount of stuff. You're just getting older and you're slowing down. That's your problem.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I thought I was busier than ever before. No, you're not.
Just taxing more.
Yeah, right. It's just taking more out of you to get it done. It just seems like that. I'm like, okay, you didn't have to say that. I was like you bringing up the robots.
I ruined it right at the end.
I know, damn robots.
Did you get your bike out yet, by the way? Riding it?
As a matter of fact, I went on a ride yesterday. And me and my son were watching the game. And I hear all these motorcycles, and I saw people out and stuff. I got to go on a motorcycle ride. He goes, stay here, watch the game. you know, it's going to start raining pretty soon. Well, you know, he's a fisherman and he knows every second of the weather. Okay. Winds, wind direction, temperature, barometer, exact time when it's going to start raining, every radar, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to start raining. You don't want to go out. I said, nah, I got to go out. I got to go out. Stay here and watch the game. And of course, it was a great game, the great ending. So I go out, but I'm glad I did. You know, I'm glad I did. So I go out. I get out to about Jamestown, and I start going up the hill like towards Conneaut, and all of a sudden the sky is pitch black. I'm going, how the hell did that happen? I just start going up this hill. I said, I got to start heading back. So I start going down 322, and I'm heading down 322, you know, towards Ohio, down towards 193 and 7 and stuff. And all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm just seeing this wall of blackness just coming off of Lake Erie, you know, and coming down from the northwest. And I'm like, holy shit, this is not good. And so now your heart starts pumping, and every once in a while you'll feel a couple of drops of rain on you. And you're like, oh man. And you're looking at the cars coming the other way and you're going, I hope nobody has their wipers on. So I get down there to 7, and then I go down to 7. And then I think, okay, it doesn't look like it's going to rain that much. So then I cut across 87. Big mistake. I cut across 87 to like 193. And I look up there, and now it's really black. I'm going, oh, why'd I come down this way? So I start flying down 193. And I get almost to, so I get down there, and then I get to 305. And I look back and I go, oh, okay, you know what? It doesn't look like it's going to rain now. So then I cut across 305 and I go back over to 7. I get to 7. I look over my shoulder. I go, uh-oh, it's coming. You know,
you were outrunning it, but you kept thinking that
I kept wanting to go for another mile or two. Actually, that's how I wrecked my bike that one time, you know, because I kept on wanting to ride, and I got caught in the rain. I hit a slick spot and down I went. So anyways, now I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm going, oh no. So I get to the circle in Brookfield, and the emergency alert comes on the radio. It goes, severe thunderstorm warning, take cover now. And it says, it was in every place that I was. It was like Kinsman, Jamestown, you know, every one of those. It says, you know, large damaging hail. And then I turn around and I look, and I'm there. I'm getting ready to turn on to 82. And now it is really just pitch black behind me. I'm going, oh no, I should have listened to my son, you know. And then I go flying down 82, and the wind is just blowing me all over the road. And I'm going, oh no. And then I get to about 193, and then I start feeling some raindrops. I'm going, oh shit. So then I get down to 422. I cut across there, you know, and I get to 422. And these big drops start coming down. And I'm like, oh no, you know. And then I take off, and I just got home in a nick of time, put the bike in the garage, and boom. Well, I was waiting at the one red light by the cemetery in Niles, and I saw a white flash before I even heard the lightning crack. It was a lot. There's just like this bright white light. Then I hear a crack, and then I hear this big thunder, and I'm like, oh no. And I just made it home in a nick of time. So, but you know what? I was still happy that I got out. You know that it was still,
you got an eventful ride in, not just a ride.
Yeah. Hey, that got the heart pounding a little bit. Yeah, that got the heart pumping a little bit. And then of course my son goes, I told you, dumbass. You don't want to listen to me, you know. But so that was that. Hey, Hogs checking in. Hey, what's happening, Hogs? I'm gonna drink this last sippy here for you, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And we will be back next week, and hopefully we'll get some good guests. Although, you know, Record Store Day's coming up. Make sure you stop by and support our buddy Zach out at Fat Hippie Records in Brookfield. Stop by and see Jeff Burke over at the Record Connection in Niles. And, of course, my boy Sonny Hopcheck. And you can find him at Underdog Records in Hubbard. And get out there, man, rediscover vinyl. And, you know, it's just so cool to get into those record stores and just see the posters and stuff that they have hanging up and the memorabilia and everything. And vinyl's on a comeback. So thanks, Joe. Hogs. Cheers, my brother. And
next time.
Bourbon's gone, show over. That's how we do it.
Boom.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on